Well, let's talk about KTM and what happens to motorcycle racing if they really do go bust. And it's a lot bigger than just one company. But before I get into everything, if you could please hit subscribe, help us grow here on YouTube, and we encourage the comments by responding to your comments. So come, talk some MotoGP with us. So if you're in motorcycle land and you didn't know, I think we call that asleep at the handlebars, KTM is in a little bit of financial trouble. Or should I say the Pierer Mobility group. Yeah, apparently they're deep in debt to the tune of about 3 billion euros. Yes, their debt is 3 billion euros. Just process that for a second. And those of you out there in MotoGP fandom thinking this was not going to affect KTM's MotoGP product, you were smoking the good stuff and you all need to share. It came down the pipe today with some rumors that KTM will be pushing pause on their bike development while they try to figure out how not to go bankrupt. Now, everyone's instant reaction to this news is what's going to happen with Pedro Acosta. If they stop bike development in KTM, he's going to be looking for the door very, very soon, and there'll be some very eager manufacturers to sign him up to a big deal. Trust me, this kid is not going to sit on the same bike year after year watching someone else win the championship. He wants to be the next Marc Marquez. That's what we were promised. That's what he wants to deliver. But outside of that, I don't think people realize how deep the repercussions from all this could really be. I mean, KTM is not just a brand in MotoGP. We have Moto3, Moto2, Red Bull Rookies Cup, Dakar. They're all over the place. Motocross, they're everywhere in motorcycling. And these programs cost money. Money that their creditors are not going to want them to spend. Their creditors want their money back. And racing, I don't know if you've ever been racing, it's very, very expensive. But how did we get here? I mean, that's what I want to talk about, because we have a brand here, KTM, that had a very, very loyal fan base. And the first thing that may be calculated as a misstep is you take a brand like KTM that is instantly recognizable and you bury it under the umbrella of the Pierer Mobility Group, which sounds like a company that makes wheelchairs and rascal scooters, not state-of-the-art MotoGP racing machines. And I know Mr. Pierer, CEO guy, you wanted to use your name, but that's a terrible name. I mean, even the guys in the MotoGP commentary booth had to like swallow it down every time they said it. Like they'd say KTM and then they'd say, oh, well, we mean Pierer Mobility Group because, you know, it has all of these different brands. And this Pierer Mobility Group seems like they were very preoccupied with hoarding small boutique brands of motorcycles. I mean, underneath this umbrella, you not only have KTM, you have Husqvarna, you have GasGas, MV Agusta, CF Moto. You know, they're positioning themselves in the market to have this big market share with all these brands. Problem is you need to make money in the meantime too. You can't just spend it. Just, you know, ask my grandma, you got to balance the checkbook. Now, given all of that, you still have to consider that KTM is selling more now than they ever have before. I mean, look at the chart. The chart don't lie. This is from them. So why is it that this company that looks like it has had year after year growth is in so much financial trouble? Well, it's really simple. They spend too much damn money. Now, my first instinct was to be very, very upset at the corporate structure of this company. Like, is this a company that pays their CEO $50 million while the company is losing money? No, not quite. They're a little more European than American in that way. But in the midst of them misplacing basically $3 billion, they still found the time to give all the executives bonuses. Now, some of them aren't that big, but we are still talking about corporate bonuses to executives who are captaining a ship directly to the bottom of the sea. And I think this gets a lot worse before it gets better for KTM. I don't see how they avoid bankruptcy, and I don't see how they keep putting a competitive MotoGP bike on the grid with this much financial trouble. We might be saying goodbye to this brand sooner than we hope.